Join me on a trip through a country full of surprises. A country with breathtaking nature, fascinating history, hospitable people, and exquisite cuisine. Armenia. Located within the Caucasus Mountains, just between Europe and Asia, it shares borders with Georgia, Iran, Turkey, and Azerbaijan. Armenia covers an area of about 30,000 kilometers squared. 90% of the territory are located at an altitude of 1,000 meters above sea level. And roughly half of the area is covered with mountainous terrain ranging from plateaus to volcanoes. Armenia has a population of approximately 3 million people, of which 1/3 live in the capital city Yerevan. The heart of Yerevan is the Republic Square. It is surrounded by 5 famous buildings: the Government House, the Central Post Office, the Ministry of Energy and Natural Resources, the National Art Gallery and History Museum of Armenia, and the Marriott Hotel. After 8 p.m., the famous singing fountains provide entertainment and make everyone gather around to enjoy the evening. But Yerevan has a lot more to offer than that. The Northern Avenue with its modern buildings and numerous shops, the Cascade, the Swan Lake, the statue of Mother Armenia in the Victory Park, and much, much more. Yet, how did Armenia become the country it is today? Roughly 3,000 years ago, regarding the threats posed by the Assyrians, the kingdom of Urartu was created on the area of Armenian highlands. In the 1st century BC, the Armenian Empire was formed. Its king was the famous Tigran the Great, who ruled the empire from 95 to 55 BC. The empire covered an area of about 300,000 kilometers square, where more than 15 languages were spoken, and which was about 10 times larger than the Armenian Republic is today. Armenians call the kingdom of Tigran also Tsovitstov Hayastan, which means sea to sea Armenia, and that is because it extended from the Caspian Sea to the Mediterranean Sea. As Armenia is a very ancient country, it's difficult to talk about every aspect of its history, which is why we will focus on the aspects that still influence Armenia and its people in our days. Due to its strategic importance, Armenia was constantly disputed. On various occasions, the country was either under the domination of Persia or the Ottoman Turkey successively. Being divided into 2 parts, the Armenian nation suffered very tough social and national repressions. Towards the end of the 19th century, the Armenian question arose. It questions the way Armenians should be treated in the Ottoman Empire. Turkey's solution consisted in eliminating the Armenian population on Turkish territory. The cruelest and most defining event that Armenians around the world still face today is the Armenian genocide of 1915 to 1917. On April 24th of 1915, the Ottoman Empire arrested 250 leading Armenians and killed many of them. In total, Turkish soldiers deported and murdered over 1.5 million Armenians. In the monument complex Tsitsernakabert in Yerevan, an eternal flame commemorates the fallen of the genocide. On September 27th in 2020, the Nagorno-Karabakh War broke out. Armenia fought together with the Republic of Artsakh against Azerbaijan, who had additional support from Turkey and foreign militia groups. Azerbaijan and Turkey had set the goal to finish what once had been started by the Armenian genocide and to ultimately get rid of all Armenian people. Besides land, Armenia lost many very young soldiers during this war, which at some point broke the morale of the Armenian people. But in spite of all that, one of the first things one notices when entering the country is the hospitality of Armenian people. They tend to go above and beyond for curious minds exploring the country. In no time, one will find themselves seated at a set table overflowing with various traditional dishes unlike anything they've ever seen before. An Armenian get-together is never complete without khorovats. Khorovats is similar to barbecue, but tastes exceptionally delicious.
Նայ, կտրվածքներ եմ անում, որ միսը հանկարծում չմնա։
Together with khorovats, the heavenly tasting, thin and soft flatbread called lavash is served. While visiting Armenia, it's worth checking out the baking process of Armenian lavash. And talking about bread, besides lavash, the bread called puri is a major component of Armenian, but also of Georgian meals. The baking process here is very similar to the one of lavash. Furthermore, the dough contains the exact same ingredients for puri as well as for lavash: flour, salt, water, and yeast. These are mixed together and more or less equal balls are formed out of the dough. They are rolled out and slapped onto the inside wall of the heated clay oven, which is called tonir in Armenian. And there you have your crispy, tasty puri. But the Armenian cuisine is much richer than that. Just take a look for yourself. In 301 AD, Armenia was the first country to convert to Christianity. The Armenian Apostolic Church was founded by the disciples of Jesus Christ and the apostles Thaddeus and Bartholomew. As a result, many churches and monasteries were built. Most of them are still preserved today and are among the most popular sites in Armenia. But before we dive into the world of Armenian churches, let's first have a look at a very important building, the Garni Temple. It is a temple complex built in the middle of the 1st century AD. It is the only freestanding Greco-Roman colonnaded temple in Armenia and is thus an important symbol of pre-Christian Armenia. After the 4th century, when Armenia had converted to Christianity, it was transformed into a summer palace and royal baths were added. The 24 columns of the temple symbolize the 24 hours of the day. The nature around the Garni Temple is unique. The view of fields, rocks, mountain slopes, and the gorge of the Azat River make this place all the more attractive for tourists as well as locals. Located deep in the Azat Valley, near the Garni Temple, there is the medieval monastery Gerard. It was founded by Gregory the Illuminator in the 4th century AD, but at that time only as a small church. The probably most interesting fact about Gerat is that both the monastery and many khachkars and living cells of the former monks are built into rocks. In the year 2000, Gerat was declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The next architectural wonder of the Middle Ages that we will look at is the Vardgesyan monastery. It is located in the Tavush region, 18 kilometers north of the city of Dilijan and surrounded by beautiful nature. Historians claim that the monastery was built gradually between the 10th and 13th centuries. Nowadays, many tourists and locals visit the monastery. A highlight of the visit is also a hollowed tree trunk with a special shaped hole. Visitors are allowed to make a wish and then go through the hole to have their dream fulfilled. The Armenian language is very unique. It belongs to the eastern group of the Indo-European linguistic family with certain similarities to Paleo-Balkanic languages and the Greek. However, it forms an independent branch. And also, the letters of the Armenian alphabet are used only in Armenian. They were invented by Mesrop Mashtots in 405 AD. In the year 2005, on the 1600th anniversary of Mashtot's creation, stone carvings of all the Armenian letters were created near his resting place. Also named after Mesrop Mashtots is the Matenadaran. It is one of the largest and most impressive repositories of manuscripts in the world and the largest repository of ancient Armenian manuscripts. The collection of Matenadaran manuscripts is included in the UNESCO World Heritage List. I'm sure you're also interested in the different traditions of Armenians. Chess is an important national sport in Armenia, which was played there already in the early Middle Ages. A few years ago, Armenia was the first country to introduce chess as compulsory school subject. Thus, children are introduced to the game of chess at a very young age. Armenia's chess players show strong performances in all categories worldwide, making their country one of the strongest chess nations. Worth mentioning are the names of the famous former world champion Tigran Petrosyan and the name of one of the world's current top players, Levon Aronian, both with Armenian origin. Armenian dance is one of the oldest and most important cultural heritages of Armenia. The traditional dance, which originated several centuries before Christ, is still very popular today and is practiced all over the world, especially by Armenians. If available, the dancers wear traditional costumes to make the dance even more expressive. Waving carpets is also one of the oldest traditions in Armenia. The first carpets are said to have been made as early as the 2nd century BC. Today, carpets with many different patterns can be found in practically all Armenian households. I already mentioned a few times the word khachkar, but what is that? A khachkar is a stele with a carved cross in the center, and it is translated into English as cross stone. The history of khachkars dates back almost to prehistoric periods. The art of carving stone has reached such a level that it can be correctly compared with the work of refined jewelry or delicate filigree. Rightly enough, some khachkars are also called embroidered. In the center of a khachkar, there is an Armenian flowered cross, being the symbol of Jesus it represents life and salvation. Around the cross, there are rosettes, 8-point stars, birds, fruits, animals, various ornaments and motifs. In November 2010, the art of carving khachkars was included in the UNESCO Intangible Cultural Heritage List. And a last amazing fact worth mentioning is that no single khachkar resembles any other one. And now, having seen Armenia as a country, we will start looking at the main subject of this video: the economy of Armenia and Armenia as a business location. First of all, Hayk Stepanyan, the CEO at Byblos Bank Armenia, will present some aspects that have an impact on the Armenian economic system.
Factors impacting Armenian economy are external factors related to the regional instability, related to the recent war in 2019, and increased uncertainties around Armenia. So this constrains possibility of foreign investments and even internal investments. Investors are more cautious, waiting for situation to clarify. So this negatively impacts in short term Armenian economy. However, there are also long run, and I hope long run, positive factors also, that recently the businesses are becoming more tax transparent, tax administration is improving, the level of corruption significantly decreased, which helps businesses in long run. And even after the COVID, after the war, we can see that the economy has potential because the recovery is very fast.
So would you say that the bank needs more experts at the moment?
Actually, in all sectors in our of economy in Armenia, there is a very high need of good professionals. And now in Armenia, it's very hard to make efficient recruitment because we have very large number of universities. Quite few of them are good universities, like one or two. In finance, like literally one faculty in one university and one faculty in one second university, and that's it. And it's very hard to recruit someone with good knowledge, with good theoretical knowledge, and the market for experienced bankers is very limited. So it's even hard to recruit someone experienced. So yeah, it's very hard, and that's why actually Armenian banks and banking sector, they are extensively hiring external trainers, courses from international companies for the staff to elevate the expertise in the bank.
Let's hear now a few words about the Armenian banks.
The banks in Armenia are quite conservative when it comes to lending to new businesses. Very conservative, because we used to lend to the established companies, and we are a little bit afraid. By tradition, we are a little bit afraid from lending to new initiatives. But with time it changes, and if there is a significant investment from the investor, the banks are willing to provide funds. Now the whole banking sector is quite liquid in terms of liquidity, we have big liquidity. And I believe that all new projects are very much welcome in Armenia. And now we see this especially in construction, in solar panel energy sector, solar panel plants, agro business. So these are actually the main investments that are financed by the banks now in Armenia, and most of them have foreign capital. Armenians, but from abroad, like from Russia, from Europe, from Canada.
If you consider investing into Armenia, you might want to know more about the legal basis. Some important points will now be presented by Mikael Vardgesyan, who is a partner at the law firm Vardgesyan, Kyriakosyan and Partners.
Okay, let me put it this way. We in Armenia, since 1994, we have our government have adopted a law on foreign investments, whereby several points of securitization and of guarantees of foreign investment were set in that law. In particular, the most important ones were those of securing the foreign investments from nationalization and confiscation by state authorities, which means that any foreign investment cannot be nationalized by the Republic of Armenia, or it cannot be confiscated. Otherwise, there should be a court decision for that, and the full confiscation for that. The regulations so far have been adopted for more comfort of foreign investor to come to Armenia and be calm about his investments here. In general, I think that in Armenia all the regulations are present for the foreign investment to bring his money to the Republic of Armenia, and there should be no impediment for that. In particular, also it's very important that any foreign investment is regulated by the same laws, and the same regulations apply for the foreign investment the same way as for the nationals of Armenia. So we can say that the most favorable terms apply both for Armenians and for foreign investors. Apart from that, we can say that there are also some preferences for the foreign investor to bring his investments here. In particular, it is one of that preferences is that when the foreign investors bring their investments, but in the not monetary investments, but items, products, or others, and the goods, let's say, they invest it in the statutory chartered capital of the company. They are customs fee exempt, so no customs fee apply for that products or goods, which are brought to Armenia to be put into chartered capital of the company. So that is one of the preferences which have foreign investors. Armenia is also very attractive in the perspective of taxes. In particular, we by the way, we have a lot of double tax treaties with the most of the countries, including Switzerland, which regulates the double tax exclusion, which is also a very good point for the investor. Apart from that, we can say that Armenia, and this part is also very important, Armenia recently has joined the GSP Plus agreement, the international agreement, let's say the treaty, whereby all the products which have Armenian origin are customs exempt in the countries of European Union when they are exported from Armenia to the EU countries, which means that makes Armenia a very good place to establish a production of any goods, which is on high demand in EU, especially in the Switzerland, and to make that, to produce that goods and to export that to the particular country of EU, having the more preferenced terms of that exportation. That's going to reduce the price of the exported goods and making it more comparable in the EU market. Taking into account also that Armenia's labor costs are very low and they have a good quality. If we compare it with the other countries in this region, and not only in this region, so that makes the product price and quality ratio very high for this country, for Armenia. The situation in terms of corruption in Armenia is in a very good level currently. It has been gradually lowered since the independence of Armenia, and it has become. I think that in the lowest level, it is on the lowest level now since the independence of Armenia. So there is no impediment for the investors currently. We can state it and we can be sure about it, that there is no impediment, no obstacle for a foreign investor to bring his investments and to be sure, to be calm, to be about the safety and security of his investments, especially with regards to the corruption issues.
Having talked about some economic aspects and the legal basis, let's have a look at one of the most important sectors in Armenia. Vahe Vardanyan, General Manager at GeoMining LLC and Mining Consulting LLC and member of the EITI multi-stakeholder group, will talk about the mining sector and the geological resources that Armenia has. What importance does mining have in the economy of Armenia?
The importance of mining in the industry of Armenia is really big in terms of the percentage in GDP and other macroeconomic indexes. In terms of figures, it may not seem big, but when we imply different types of multiplier factors, the sector really shows its importance for the economy. For example, there is a research by the World Bank. It's a quite recent research from 2016, when it says that the importance and the implication of mining industry for the overall economy of Armenia should be multiplied at least by 3.5 as far as I remember, which means that it really has huge impact for the other sectors as well, and some of the services and providers that help mining industry. So the other important factor that we have to take into account is the importance for the export for Armenia. I may not remember in figures, but about 30 to 35% of all our foreign exchange inflow to the country is coming from mining industry. These figures should be checked. I would urge you to check these figures, but I'm sure that you'll also be impressed by this importance that mining industry has. The other very important factor that has to be taken into account is the number of jobs that mining industry creates, and this is very important, especially for remote areas, because mining is mostly concentrated into remote areas. When I say remote, I mean remotely from the center, from Yerevan. It's Syunik region and Lori region, and the main job providers, especially for Syunik, is mining industry, which means that for income generation for general public, mining has really big importance, and not only for the population but also for the communities. In terms of municipalities, they have big impact in terms of municipality incomes. This is brief in terms of importance of mining, and also I would like to mention one important aspect in terms of mining. We have basically two types of mining in Armenia. One is the construction material mining and quarrying, and the other one is metal mining. And most of the information that I'll be referring to, that I'll be talking to, is the metal mining part of the mining sector, and the construction material mining does not have the same level of impact as metal mining has.
And what resources does Armenia have, for example, in metal mining?
Well, we have quite rich resources, and currently mining companies in Armenia mine copper, molybdenum, gold, silver, lead. Also, there are a couple of tin mines which are not still mined, but there are good resources. These are the most popular metals that are being mined in Armenia, and there is a very interesting fact that around 7% of world molybdenum resources are in Armenia, in South Armenia, Syunik region. So this is also very impressive number. This means that what investors need, they need mineralization, geology, they need people and technology which they can, with the help of technology they can apply, and with the help of people who can use this technology to mine. And investors have the last very important resource, money. So with their money they can come to Armenia. There is a good geology, there is good human resource background in Armenia, and there is also technology in Armenia.